Have you ever felt as if life is piling one problem after another onto your shoulders? As if the universe is testing how much weight your heart can carry before it breaks? Maybe you've experienced those days where the morning already feels heavy, where small inconveniences become big frustrations, where worries echo in your mind even when everything outside seems quiet. We all have moments like these, moments where we feel tired, overwhelmed, disappointed, moments where we start to wonder, why does this keep happening to me? Why can't things just get easier? This is a story about a young man who asked the same questions. A young man who felt suffocated by life's constant challenges. A young man who went searching for relief, and instead found a lesson so powerful that it changed the way he faced every difficulty afterward. This is the story of the salt and the lake. A simple metaphor, but behind it lies a timeless truth. A truth about patience, resilience, and the incredible strength hidden inside each of us. So take a deep breath, settle into this moment, and let this story guide you inward, toward a place of calm, clarity, and quiet transformation. There once was a young man who felt utterly exhausted by the weight of his life. Every day seemed to bring another problem, another disappointment, another reason to feel defeated. He would wake up already tired. He would go through his day feeling as if something heavy was pressing down on his chest. Nothing seemed to go right. Nothing seemed to improve. And every setback felt like proof that he was stuck in an endless cycle of frustration. He tried to stay positive. He tried to push forward. He tried to tell himself that things would change. But deep down, he felt drained, as if life was slowly squeezing the hope out of him. One day, unable to bear the weight any longer, he decided to seek help from a wise monk who lived on the edge of a quiet forest, a man known for helping others find clarity in moments of darkness. When the young man arrived, the monk was sitting peacefully beneath the shade of an old tree, breathing slowly, fully present, as if the whole world existed inside that single moment. The young man approached him, his shoulders slumped, his voice trembling. "Master," he said softly, I feel overwhelmed. I feel tired. I feel lost. Every time I solve one problem, another one comes. I don't know how to stop the pain. I don't know how to stop the frustration. Please, tell me what I should do." The monk opened his eyes, looked at the young man gently, and simply said, "Come with me." The monk led the young man into a small kitchen where sunlight spilled across the wooden floor. On the table sat a small cup filled with clear water. Next to it was a small bowl of coarse, white salt. The monk handed the young man a fistful of salt. "Put this into the cup," he said. The young man did as he was told. The salt sank quickly, clouding the water with tiny swirling particles. "Now," the monk continued, "drink it." The young man hesitated, but he lifted the cup to his lips and took a sip. Instantly, he spat it out. "It's so salty. I can't drink this," he exclaimed, his face twisted with discomfort. The monk nodded calmly. He didn't laugh. He didn't criticize. He didn't say a word. He simply motioned for the young man to follow him once more. They walked through a peaceful field, past soft grass and shimmering leaves, until they reached a vast, serene lake. The surface reflected the sky like a giant mirror, still, bright, and endlessly open. The monk turned to the young man and handed him the remaining salt. "Throw it into the lake." The young man poured the salt into the water. It dissolved instantly, disappearing into the vastness of the lake without a trace. "Now," said the monk, "drink from the lake." The young man scooped up a handful of water and took a sip. His eyes widened. "It's fresh," he said. "It tastes clean. It doesn't taste salty at all." The monk nodded. And then, with a voice soft but powerful, he said, "The salt is the same, but the cup and the lake are not." The monk sat down by the water's edge, and the young man sat beside him. "You see," the monk said, "the problems of life, the disappointments, the challenges, the frustrations, are like this handful of salt. Their amount rarely changes. Life will always bring some level of difficulty. It is part of being human." He scooped a little water in his palm, letting it drip gently back into the lake. "But what does change," the monk continued, "is the container through which we hold these challenges." He pointed toward the cup. When your mind is small, when your patience is thin, when your heart is tight and narrow, then even the smallest problem feels overwhelming. A single setback can ruin your day. A single harsh word can break your peace. A single disappointment can feel like the end of the world. He then gestured to the lake. But when your mind becomes spacious, when your heart expands, when your patience grows, problems no longer hurt you the same way. They still exist, they are still salt, but they lose their power. They cannot make your life bitter anymore. The young man listened, his eyes slowly widening with understanding. The monk smiled gently and said, "You cannot always make life easier. You cannot always control the world. But you can expand your inner capacity. You can become like this lake, vast, calm, unshaken." The monk invited the young man to close his eyes and asked him a simple question. When a problem comes to you, where does it land? In a small cup or in a lake? The young man stayed silent, realizing that he had been living with a mind as small as a fragile cup, overfilled by even the tiniest grain of difficulty. So the monk began to teach him how to expand his inner lake. Patience, the monk said, is not the ability to wait. It is the ability to remain calm while waiting. Patience softens the sharp edges of frustration. It gives your mind room to breathe. The monk explained that patience is like strengthening a muscle. It grows only when it is challenged. Every inconvenience, every delay, every setback is an opportunity to build a wider, calmer inner world. Most problems, the monk said, only feel big because our perspective is small. When you step back, when you look at the bigger picture, many problems shrink on their own. He explained that keeping perspective is like climbing a mountain. The higher you rise, the smaller the world's chaos appears below you. Acceptance is not giving up, the monk said. It is releasing the illusion that everything must happen the way you wish. Acceptance expands the heart. It allows you to let go of resistance, and resistance is what makes suffering feel unbearable. The monk taught him that stillness is not the absence of movement, it is the presence of grounded awareness. When your mind becomes still, he said, life's noise cannot disturb you. Over the following days, weeks, and months, the young man practiced these teachings. Slowly, his mind began to change. Slowly, his inner lake grew wider. Slowly, problems that once made him collapse no longer held the same power. He still faced challenges. Life didn't suddenly become perfect. Difficulties still came, just like the salt. But now, he held them differently. He no longer drowned in frustration. He no longer sank into despair. He no longer felt crushed by every setback. Instead, he breathed deeply. He looked at each challenge with clarity. He responded with calm rather than fear. He had become the lake. And now, this lesson is offered to you. Life will never be free of problems, but you can free yourself from their grip. You can grow larger than your worries. You can become calmer than your fears. You can expand your patience, your resilience, your inner strength until life's hardships dissolve inside your vastness. You, too, can become the lake. Whenever something troubles you, ask yourself, is my heart a small cup today, or a lake wide enough to hold this without bitterness? With time, with practice, with awareness, you will discover the quiet power inside you, a power that cannot be shaken. And once you do, you will no longer fear the salt of life, because you will know it can no longer change the taste of your peace. So breathe deeply. Let the lesson settle into your heart. Do not seek a life without difficulties. Seek a mind without fear. Do not pray for fewer storms. Pray for a stronger vessel. Do not hope the world will grow gentle. Grow gentle within yourself. And remember, the salt is the same. Only the container changes. Be the lake always. Be the lake.